What are the ethical limits of geoengineering for climate change? Imagine trying to fix a massive, complex machine that affects everyone on Earth. Now think about doing it with big, deliberate changes to the planet's climate system. That's what geoengineering is. It involves large-scale efforts to alter the climate to counteract global warming. But just because we can do something doesn't mean we should. There are important ethical questions about how far we should go. First, there's the issue of responsibility. If we use geoengineering as a quick fix, it might make us feel like we don't need to cut greenhouse gases. That's called a moral hazard. It could lead to less effort to reduce emissions, which is the real cause of climate change. Ethical limits say we shouldn't rely on geoengineering to replace cutting pollution. It should only be a backup if mitigation efforts aren't enough. Next, there's the problem of risk and uncertainty. We don't fully understand what might happen if we change the climate on a large scale. There could be unintended effects like shifts in weather patterns, droughts, or harm to ecosystems. Ethical practice demands careful research, strict oversight, and transparency before any action. We must be cautious to avoid causing more harm than good. Justice and fairness are also key. Climate change hits poorer and marginalized communities hardest. If geoengineering benefits some but harms others, it could deepen inequalities. Ethical limits requiring involving all affected groups in decision-making. We need to ensure that risks and benefits are shared fairly and that vulnerable populations are protected. Governance is another big concern. Since geoengineering impacts the entire planet, it needs clear international rules. No single country should decide to deploy these technologies alone. Global cooperation and agreements are necessary to prevent unilateral actions that could have long-lasting effects. This is about respecting the shared nature of our environment. Respect for nature and future generations also matter. Interfering with natural climate systems raises questions about human hubris. We have a moral duty to consider how our actions today will affect those who come after us. Making irreversible changes could compromise their ability to live well and enjoy a healthy environment. Finally, responsible research is vital. Before any deployment, geoengineering must be studied thoroughly. This includes engaging the public, especially indigenous peoples and local communities. Open discussions about risks, benefits, and ethical concerns are essential. Research should be cautious, transparent, and reversible whenever possible. In practice, these ethical limits mean prioritizing reducing emissions and adapting to climate change first. Developing international rules for research and deployment is essential. Public involvement must be a core part of decision-making. Any geoengineering project should be reversible and closely monitored. And we should never rush into large-scale actions until we fully understand the consequences. So, the ethical limits of geoengineering are about preventing harm, ensuring fairness, respecting the planet, and taking responsibility for future generations. It's about approaching these powerful tools with humility and caution, always keeping the common good at the forefront.